Time then to head to Rio to catch up with our South American correspondent, Tim Vickery. Good afternoon, Tim.
Yeah, thank you, man. Mr. Please, Mr. Please, but I must be Hercules. Of course I love Aaron Neville. What are you talking about?
Of course you
good,
would.
you
Love
see.
Gary Is that the impression?
Oh, he does, yeah.
I thought you were in a bit of pain there, Charlie.
Look at these arms.
Yes.
There's no way of knowing.
That's it. I'll dig the organ out.
Get it out.
This
Next
will
time,
be a
Paul, me
massive
and
hit
you.
in the clubs.
Leave these losers here.
Between around the bingo. So, Tim, Libertadores semi-finals. We've been able to watch them over here, and I caught the highlights today. And it's Brazil-Argentina, and as you said, first blood to Brazil. That was a right shoeing for River Plate, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It was a lovely clash of styles. River Plate are very, very expansive, make the ball fizz. Started very well. Could have scored. Could have had 3 or 4 first half actually. But Palmeiras are terrific on the counter attack. It was a big question going into this game. Could River Plate defend against them? When the centre forward, the man who really won the game with that second goal just after half time, Luis Adriano, had a lot of time in Europe. Sensational player. There's no better centre forward around in South America. So they got picked off, and in the end, they were a bit of a rabble, weren't they, River Plate? Yeah. But it was a good game. Good game. Oh, you lucky people. And tonight's second helping of Argentina versus Brazil is a bit earlier. It's 10:15 kickoff between Boca Juniors and Santos. Ooh, and that's, Maradona's old club against Pele's old club. The chances, I think, of a Boca River final have receded somewhat in the light of yesterday's game. Although you never know, football is football. But Boca Santos is a great story on its own. And Santos are a fabulous story. They're broke. They can't sign players. They impeached their president, so they've had to throw in the kids, and the kids have done fantastically well. So as well as enjoying a game tonight, you can do a little bit of talent spotting. And there's just one or two I'll pick out for you. Caio Jorge, who is the centre forward of Santos, he's I think he's 18, just about to turn 19. There's a little bit of Firmino about him. Now he can do the penalty box, but he'll come back and mark, and he'll facilitate in the way that Firmino does, slip little passes through. Very, very promising indeed. And there's one who's just got into the midfield at Santos, another 18-year-old called Sandri, who is an all-round midfielder who's done wonderfully well. So if you want a talent spot, look out for those two.
And there's a wonderful late red card in the River Palmeiras game last night. The sort of roundhouse kick out that you only ever see in Argentinian football. And he just has a massive kick at the fella. And then moans like they always say, oh, come on, it was nothing. But it was a proper old-school Argentinian red card, wasn't it?
Yeah, from a Colombian, in fact.
Yeah.
From a Colombian with a kiss tattooed on his neck. Now, some people might think that's a red card offence even before the game has started. I would try and be a little bit more tolerant, but yeah, that was a sign of a team that's lost it, isn't it? Really, and what on earth was he thinking of? And then straight from the free kick, they concede the third goal. There's just a little question whether Santos, because they still had half an hour. Palmeiras, they still had half an hour against a rabble who were down to 10. Could they have gone harder and really killed it off? Because, let's imagine Tuesday. River Plate have lots of attacking depth. Let's imagine they get one early and the nerves start to jangle, and let's imagine that Palmeiras have a player sent off. It could happen. Yeah. It's unlikely, but it could happen. You just wonder, and this is the main reason for watching next Tuesday night's game, you just wonder if Palmeiras might live to regret not really killing it off when they had a chance.
Wow, even at 3-0. So, Tim, Mauricio Pochettino's first press conference was asked about a lot of things, including Lionel Messi. And maybe we've been given a bum steer all these years. Instead, we thought Messi was saying he's going to go and play for Newell's Old Boys. Maybe he was going to go and play for a Newell's Old Boy. That's maybe that's what we misunderstood, because there is a lot of talk, because they were they were brought up quite close to each other, etc., and there's a bit of a kindred spirit that he could be off to PSG. He didn't say much, Poch, but I mean it's possible, isn't it?
Well, there's no doubt in my mind that they sacked the German Thomas Tuchel and got in Pochettino in to try and make it attractive to Messi. For me, that's been the driver of the thing. And Messi to PSG, it makes so much sense. And the Premier League, I tend to think, has just come a little bit too late for him. If he goes to PSG, he can dose himself a little bit during the domestic league, and he's still fresh for what really matters to him, which is the business end of the Champions League and one more crack at the World Cup. If he goes to Man City, you know, the Premier League is so relentless, and he's just lost a little bit of that acceleration speed that, you know, a few years ago would have been great, but now maybe a little bit too late. So I've always seen, if he leaves, I've certainly come to the conclusion that Paris Saint-Germain are in pole position.
Oh. We'll see what happens. We should look at some of the transfer stories out of South America. Manchester United showing an interest in a young 18-year-old Ecuadorian midfielder.
Moses Caicedo, huge fan, and a lot of the teenagers that the European market now wants from South America are being bought on promise. This fella is already a reality, and he's just taken everything in his stride. He's stepped up to the first team in a pretty good team in Ecuador. He stepped up to international football with the Ecuadorian national team, who are flying. He's the first player born in the 21st century to score a goal in South American World Cup qualification, and he's an all-rounder. And a year ago, he was talking about Kante of Chelsea being his role model. And he's already more than that. He's already in say like a 4-2-3-1. He's like the second man in that line of two. So, you know, he's he can defend, but he can also bomb forward. He's timing his runs very well. He's cool in possession. He seems to have the whole lot. I think he's a wonderful, wonderful signing. Obviously, sometimes, you know, they can't make the transition either from a technical point of view or a psychological point of view, but I don't think this fella's going to be a one-term Donald. I'm trying to get one-term Donald into the English language for something that's full of bluster. I'm trying hard. It maybe was a little bit forced that time, but there'll be better opportunities to call people a one-term Donald. You're nothing but a one-term Donald. Do you think it'll stick?
Stop the count.
They'll be singing it on the terraces. Eric Polgar from the Chilean player who plays for Fiorentina. Leeds are showing an interest, apparently.
Well, yeah, that's press speculation. I haven't seen anything more solid on that, but I've seen press speculation about it. Obviously, part of the connection there is that Bielsa is, you know, former coach of the Chilean national team. Polgar is a tall defensive midfielder, solid citizen. In fact, in the last couple of seasons in Italy, now with Fiorentina, he's shown that he's got a goal in him as well, kind of ghosting into the box. He's quite good in the air, so he's not going to be a world beater. But if Leeds do bring him across, I think he's a bit of solidity in the centre of their midfield.
And finally, 17-year-old winger from Estudiantes, City, apparently, there's a few reports that the deal is almost done. 12 million euros for Dario Sarmiento.
Yeah, who it's a horrible thing to say anyone, but there's a mini Messi in him, and that's why City have been following him for a while. They can't bring him over until the next transfer window because he doesn't turn 18 until March. But the club president there is Juan Sebastian Veron, and he's saying it's almost a done deal. He's already drooling over the amount of money that they can get in. And this one is someone that they're buying on promise. And he's got a handful of first team games to his name, and he hasn't got a goal yet. But I remember seeing him for the first time not long before the lockdown in February, and he came off the bench, and I saw this fellow was only 16, and some of the things he was doing, a little bit like Zero Mostel in The Producers. I was going, awooba, awooba, awooba. You know, he's got that tight little left foot, tight dribbling skills. He's got the vision to open up the game. So there's huge promise there. But this is one that City will be investing in purely on promise. And it's almost certain if he does come across, which will be in the next transfer window, they'll loan him out somewhere first.
Good stuff. Tim, always a pleasure. We'll catch up with you next week.
Look forward to it. Cheers.